What the hell even is reality? Hidden, not yet to be revealed, otherwise it would affect our karma to know what it is. Fun stuff. Hey everyone, go on in here. Just can't do structured anything today, so I'm not gonna do a reading and talk about it, but I'm ready to pull cards for anybody that wants one and talk about things. Things are getting a little screwy up in this reality. It's interesting, but I don't know. We'll start with the moment you realize you're just a piece of data carrying information as you move through a circuit system designed to siphon your spiritual energy. But what does that mean? It's only feeding on us, draining us. Like, I mean, okay, adept levels when you realize, oh yeah, it's me, myself, like it's something I'm doing. It's an aspect of myself, or I'm letting myself get involved in these dramas. But just 3D reality where we're at right now, it's hard. What the hell is happening? Let's see. We have some people watching. That's cool. I just want to basically say that reality is not what we think it is. That's like rule number one. It's not what we think it is. In my little journeys of self, I've discovered two things about the way that this whole thing works. First of all, there's an illusion. There's something that's not real. And then there's something that's real. Love. What we are, what we really are underneath everything. And then there's like all this other stuff. Structures. They're just there. Like, we've been convinced that they're so fixed. Like, we've been tricked into believing that they're fixed. Actually, we're holding them up with our own minds. So fear and suffering and pain. You're choosing all of this. So that's the cards, what they have to say about it. Yeah, there's just this whole other system of guidance and being led from one dimension into the next that we're not even aware of in our daily lives. We've just been convinced, essentially, that everything's physical, and we've been living a very physical, structured world. We just look at it like, oh, there are houses, there's a job, there's a tree, but like, do you even know what a tree is? Do you even know what you are when you look in the mirror? I mean, really, if we don't reach the levels of like looking at ourselves and questioning what even that is, then yeah, there's little hope that we're going to look around and be like, oh, these entire systems, they're just structures. They're just somebody's idea, and we're going with it. Think about that for a second. There's like something that actually clicked into place for me. It was pretty monumental, but it is a free will planet. So all these terrible things that we see happening, like, we're agreeing to them, whether through our words, our passivity, like not saying anything, or voting with it with our money. We're agreeing to all of this. So part of elimination, or like reducing the suffering that started with me in my life, is just beginning to say no. Like, no, you're not going to steal my energy today. No, you're not going to drain me. No, I'm not going to go do this thing if I find it unpleasant. No, I'm not going to work my life away and be stressed out about it. No, I'm not going to enjoy the toxicity that you're spraying all over us. Like, really, we're just sitting here and life's happening to us, and half the time we're not even aware that we're supposed to be playing some kind of active role. I think that's what finally clicked into place for me. Like, I'm here for a reason. For 24 years of my life, I was basically like, what even is life? Why is everything suffering? What is happening? Who am I? And yay, now I'm remembering. It's not like someone's telling me something, or I'm reading some kind of book and it's telling me exactly like what reality is or who I am. I'm remembering that I came here on a mission. Like, we each have a gift. We're each a light. We're healers. We're here to change this. We're here to change this, not just comply and participate in something that doesn't feel right. I don't know. That's where I'm at with it. Wow. Cards are very active today. They want to be read. Yeah, it's all a test. How many times have I gotten that in my reality? It's like, oh, it's all a test. It's leading you somewhere. I'll teach you something. Like, seriously, we've got this key of life, like, hanging around our necks. Like, it opens really awesome doors and takes you amazing places. But, you know, you've got to realize, first of all, you're carrying the key. Second of all, oh, okay, that's a door. Like, I can use it on it. That part can be tricky. Soul purpose, yeah, exactly. Like there's a purpose to this whole thing, and like maybe for so many years, like I was searching for it or something like that, but it just came to me eventually, or became clear. First, though, a lot of old structures moved out. A lot of things like fell down. It had to be broken open first before you could become aware of your true spiritual identity. That stuff's hard. We really just want to avoid it. We just prefer to stay home in bed and watch shows or something rather than face up to difficult parts of ourselves, difficult parts of the journey. Like there's not going to be anything that comes along from the sky and saves us from ourselves. Like it's going to be ourselves. I think anybody that tries to sell you a remedy, first and foremost, there should be a disclaimer. And like if that disclaimer is not there, then I find it difficult to trust that person to begin with. And the disclaimer is that, okay, I'm not going to heal you. You're going to heal yourself through me or through this other thing or through this person channeling something. But we are healers. You are your own healer. Like, I don't know. I'm finding it hard to stay quiet on the things that I'm seeing in my reality. Like it's not about telling people what to do and what not to do, and you know, trying to lay out this whole journey that actually happens individually, step by step. You've got to be up for the trip, but it can start with something as simple as a bunch of us getting together and noticing that, hey, like things are done on a sincerely messed up level here, and we have the power to share our voices and to share with others what our perception on it and alternative routes. So for me, that's lately been just saying, stop poisoning yourself with pharmaceuticals. Oh no, let's like, I'll get triggered by that. No, really, it's not working. Like if it was working, you wouldn't have to go back. Who exactly are we paying to just give us something that's all packaged up and pretty in a box, and that's supposed to cure something? Like, I think this is a whole concept that we never learned in education, you know, even though we were at school for so long and then we go to university and then we try to get jobs and we keep doing this whole prison planet thing. But they never taught us how to avoid things that were draining or to take care of ourselves properly or to understand ourselves on a spiritual, mental, emotional level. So you're expecting that those very same people that then go through the systems and come out the other end, you know, on like a hierarchy of, oh, I know best. Like I'm going to tell you what you need for healing. Like that system, that's going to help anybody? Like, I mean, come on. Let alone the fact that you can take anything that masks a symptom, but it's going to crop up later on. But at first, if you you choose this route, you're going to push it down further, more deeply into the body. And not only is that going to create problems of its own and become harder to deal with later, but it's about as counterintuitive as it gets. Like I know it's tough realizing that, okay, you have to feel through these things, or that they might have to get worse before they get better. But it's just the way that it is. And so there's the way that it is, and then there's like this pasted, like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's just like this pasted illusion on top of things. And everyone like just goes about like connecting to that and thinking, oh, that's reality. That's how it works. But there's also the way that it is. And the way that it is, no one can mess with that. No one can alter that. It's incorruptible, and it's very simple. It's like, it's very basic, and it deals with the fact that everything's in connection, everything's in union, everything's in balance, and it's all you. And so like, if you can connect with all those aspects of yourself and move through them and open up the energy blocks, then technically you're doing the inner healing with your own healer yourself. And all the other stuff is just this imprint laid on top of everything. Oh, I'm just kind of getting tired of it. I'm getting tired of it. Like, aren't we all tired? Can we all just like have a raise of hands right now? Who is tired? Tired of like this whole prison planet thing? We're just sitting around, working our lives away, stressed, hating ourselves, hating our jobs, hating each other. Like, it does not stop with just you like running around telling everyone love and light and like, oh, I'm just gonna love everyone in my reality. It doesn't stop there. That's like, there's just way too many of us still plugged into something that we haven't even come to the lucidity or to the realization that we are contributing to simply by being plugged into it. Like, that's all. Like, you don't even have to be doing anything. Like, we don't have to blame ourselves or feel like we're at fault for it. But just by realizing that we are complicit, or we're being passive, or we're somehow attached to it, yeah, we can take the responsibility for that and begin in our own lives to try to find out what's draining you, what's attached to you, what is not real. And I don't know, they do a really good job of making it all look real. It looks great. You know, you can go like sign up for a credit card and go to malls, and you can buy all that real stuff. Makes you feel real good, doesn't it? And it just spreads happiness and love to everyone around you. It fills the hole really well, doesn't it? That's not real. That's like one of the things. It's just, okay. It's this like structure thing that you can interact with, but you can't feel it. It can't like transform you. I don't even know how we got to this point. Like, it's confusing to me, but I know that we're going to be a part of getting out of it, walking away from it. I think that's like the special part of the like putting together the puzzle pieces to figure that out. So at least there's some excitement involved in terms of, oh yeah, you know, like there is a purpose. We're all here and we're going to figure it out. Yeah, we better get to it. Rebuild illusion. Rebuild. I mean, honestly, the way I see it, definitely, like when things are broken down, you rebuild something new in their stance. But one of the things that I discovered was that you're already whole. Like, you yourself in your entirety contain everything within you. You came with it. You came with it to this planet. But what happened is you got locked down. Like, all of the information, all the things that were coded were kept from you and mutated. Like, essentially, it just really goes back down to this DNA that we have, this information that we carry. It's not just some code inside your cell that tells you you're a human and that's a tree and that's a monkey. That's not what it is. Like, it's a very intricate system that carries your codes for what you really are. I mean, if we really were just physical bodies walking around, well, we would be doing a lot better. I mean, think about that for a second. We're surrounded by all this physical bounty, and there's so many healthcare facilities, and we have more food than we've ever had in some places. And, you know, we have all this water that we can buy in plastic bottles. Yeah, if it was all good, and if we were just physical bodies, physical beings, would we be so unhappy? Would there be so many problems in this world? Well, the answer is pretty obvious, and it's very much more simple than trying to dictate what's real and what isn't. Just go back to yourself. What do we need as just basic needs as what we are? It's like, okay, we just need things to be clean and good for us. They're currently not, so there must be some poisoning effects going on. Why? It's not just for profit. That doesn't make any sense. Like, I mean, I banged my head against enough walls with that one, trying to figure out what could possibly possess anything to poison the entire planet and be like, yeah, but, you know, we at the end of the day, we get the profit out of it. No, it's much deeper than that. The story is much deeper. Your energy is a very, very valuable currency. You are powerful. You can move mountains. You came here with all of these codes in order to help activate and change the lives of the people around you so that we could all together think up a solution, make something happen. And so, of course, there's profit for them in what's going on, putting people to sleep, keeping them asleep, keeping them in little mind control games, because that way the illusion can continue. They can continue feeding off of people and feeding off of their inability to see through the illusions. This is not a physical world as much as it might seem like, oh, this is it. Well, it's what humanity's being locked down into. The base drives, essentially the lower three chakras: sex, food, money, power, and fear, and passion, and rage, and murder. Just the lower capabilities of each and every human being. Like, we are more than that. And perhaps a few of you have begun to realize this over the passing of time, like that you're so much more than that. You may be stuck in your own individual dramas and all sorts of things, but I feel like we all planned this. We came here with a plan about what particular lessons we would need to learn in our lives, what particular type of suffering or what perspectives or illusions would need to fall down in order for us to see our true selves. And yeah, a person could be stuck in the same kind of drama for multiple years, but it's that very same drama, it's that very same pain or that fire that ultimately is going to lead to the rising. And I think it's that whole paradox that we are kind of sugar-coated or indoctrinated to not accept. Like, we just want everything to be all beautiful and love and light and fairies, and we just stuff the shadow down, the shadow of the collective, everybody's dark side. We stuff it down, pretend it's not there, pretend we're all happy, pretend this is great, this is awesome, and it just grows. Meanwhile, it just gets bigger and bigger, and more suffering, and more behaviors that stem off of not being aware and not being conscious of what it is that we actually carry and who we really are. I don't really know how it is that this call can get any louder and any more urgent and get to people. You know, it's not about like saying one thing and expecting everyone to just suddenly, oh, snap out of it or wake up. That's not it at all. But there are those of us that are here for this. We're here for that healing. But perhaps even in our own lives, we are asleep. And we've been waiting this whole time for something to happen, for some kind of wake-up call to show up, or an activation to remind us of who we really are and what we came here to do. I've thought about it a lot. I mean, I'm a person that plans things, thinks about them, spends time on them. And yeah, I'm just looking through things. I don't think that there's any value to the ideas that they're trying to sell us. They're just trying to sell you a bad dream. And like, the problem is, well, just buying it. For me personally, it just, nothing seems to carry any kind of value other than love and service to others and helping people and helping yourself. And it's not about just elevating out of your reality. Sorry. And, you know, getting to go on that dream vacation or being able to travel the world and be so happy in your own little bubble. I mean, I'm happy for anyone that has achieved something for themselves in their lives and have decided that that's what they want to do. But for me, it's just reached a sense of urgency that, well, I've had to accept first and foremost that that's not what I'm going to be doing with my life. It's not going to be this infinite amount of time where I just get to make myself feel wonderful and neglect the fact that we're here together and there's a whole purpose to this. It starts with self-liberation, though. That is definitely a part of it. And for me, I've just been reevaluating pretty much everything in my life, like just everything, from the reality that I live in to the people that I interact with, to the people that I came from, to where I'm going, why I'm going there. And I'm slowly cutting out the things that drain the energy, that don't seem authentic, don't feel authentic to me, don't feel right to me, don't make me feel good. I mean, I feel like we've just been brainwashed into a situation where we don't speak up when something doesn't feel right or doesn't feel good. But that's your power. Like, we are creators. And so what we put out, the vibrations that we put out, the words that we say, the thoughts that we engage in, are creating something. I mean, you just need to know that straight up. You are creating every moment of your day. Whether you're creating a heaven or hell, that's completely up to you. And the thing is, each of these thoughts is its own universe, and it's going off and it's affecting something somewhere, whether or not we take responsibility for it. It's about time we start focusing on what we do want to see instead of giving all this energy to all of these different systems and things that make us unhappy, but the power only lies with us. There isn't anything externally that can come in, cut all those ties and say, oh, well, now you're free. Now life is wonderful and beautiful like it was meant to be. No, life is beautiful, but we got confused. We got lost and started engaging in something and confused it for reality, essentially. I see it like a simulation or a video game or something. It's like watching it and looking at it. It looks so real, and we confused it for reality. But I'm just here to say that that isn't reality. And for me, it started out with beginning to heal my DNA, beginning to heal all these different traumas embedded within my body, like ancestral things. We carry everything in our DNA. Every trauma that's ever happened to anybody that you've ever been or that you've ever known is carried within you. And we're not going to escape out of this by like sterilizing and washing ourselves down, for instance, and pretending like it's a physical reality, or running around from doctor to doctor taking pills, or just ignoring it. Certainly not by ignoring it or pushing it down or something like that. None of that is going to happen. Like, if you really want any chance at figuring out who you really are and essentially moving with the flows of energies that are happening on the face of the earth right now, it goes down to figuring out what is affecting my DNA, what's causing it to mutate, what's damaging it, and what can I do to repair it? That's the thing. Like when I said remembering, it's not like someone's implanting a new idea of who I am to me. What's happening is I begin to activate and heal the damage that was caused from the years of existing in this incredibly toxic place. Beginning to heal that, that's when stuff actually about yourself, that is your birthright, that's who you really are, that starts to come up. And that's our power. We can use that then to do something beautiful and grand. Oh, hello. Just here talking about how much power we really do have, and how little we think we have. Just existing in a constant state of scarcity. Like, oh, we don't have enough. We don't have, what is it you don't have enough of? That's like, think about that for a second. What is lacking? What is it exactly that's lacking? And there wouldn't be so much depression or so many people that are lost and confused and, let's say, on mental and spiritual and emotional levels not doing so well if we were all so well provided for. You could be living the best life, being provided for physically, being fed and clothed and had a roof over your head. Of course, we have to be grateful for these things. Anything that you're grateful for just is magnified infinitely. So yeah, that's great. But there's certain ways that we are neglecting ourselves and each other because we're not taking care of very real needs that I would argue are even more basic than having food or shelter. But again, that's, you can't be in that space and be okay in that space unless you are grateful and have activated who you really are. Because once you're in contact with who you really are, you're guided. There's guidance all the time that will, your heart's desire, your heart will speak to you, communicate to you. It's a powerful energy that must be opened up and all trauma and pain released within it. And it will communicate to you what you've got to do next and where you got to go. That's something that I realized the other day was just a mind trick placed on us by this entire system. You're not going to be okay. You're not good unless you're working, unless you have money, unless you're doing this, unless you're doing that. Yeah, well, the universe will provide. Like, I'm so sure of that. And no problem. I'm not just going to talk about it on camera. I'll just give away my things and walk out the front door and just go where spirit guides. I mean, there's not very much more we need than ourselves and true allegiance with ourselves and understanding of ourselves, love, of yourself equals love of everyone around you. And the more love you're throwing out, the more that you're receiving and being guided on your path. And we generally have been tricked into this mindset of scarcity. I don't have enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not doing enough. I can't make enough. Like it's just such a paradox. It's not a paradox. It's an oxymoron. You are enough. You already are enough in the present moment. What you are in and of itself is priceless. You don't have to go chasing after that value or trying to prove to yourself or to the world that you mean something or that you have value. Except we're just stuck in this little rat race. We're all competing. What are we competing for? What is the top prize for, like, top? I don't know, really. It's laughable to me. We are all here as one, and we're meant to be taking care of each other and helping each other out, and yet we're competing for the very things that we believe to be basic, and yet we're not even getting them ourselves. Someone's giving them to us. Someone is like taking up your water and bottling it for you, putting a few extra chemicals because you need those. It's fine, no problem. Giving that to you. And just like we can't take care of ourselves. Like we're helpless or something. We don't know the first thing about living in harmony with ourselves and with nature and what's around us because we've forgotten what we are. We don't even have contact with what things really are. Like we're not out in nature figuring it out. No, everything's figured out for us. And yet no one ever stopped to question that. Like, oh, okay, why is it being handed to me on a silver platter? Except the delusion is, oh, but you're working for it. You're making money for it. So it must be like of value. But that's the whole thing. The entire thing is rigged. The entire thing is fake. It has holes in it. It doesn't have substance. And yet we walk around believing that it means something and continuing to fund and justify all sorts of atrocities. And the excuse just doesn't work anymore. The excuse of, oh, I don't know, or, but that's just the way it is. I mean, whenever people just say, but that's just the way it is, it drives me mad. It's like, what's just the way it is? What is it? What is it? Before we can even talk about it just being fixed at its current level, can we just talk a little bit about what it actually is? Does it make sense to anybody over here that we come into this world to suffer greatly and to experience the situation that, I mean, let's get real. When we really speak to ourselves truthfully about this and to each other, we feel on a deep level that something is wrong with it. We know this. It's not, it doesn't take many extra steps and a lot of explanation to understand the fact that what we're feeling is valid. We feel that there's something off with this because there is something off with this. We're not crazy. Like, I think that's something we can get stuck in as well, like feeling that you're crazy for feeling that things are off, or that you want to protest to something, or you want to tell people what you're feeling about your world. We're not crazy. I mean, this is crazy. We're not, though. So you got to trust yourself more. You have to trust yourself way, way more. Like the intuition that's there for a reason. And we just spend our lives ignoring it. It's trying to keep you out of danger and put two and two together and get you away from things that are just not real, not good for us. So if we all listen to our intuition a little bit more, we might come to a greater and deeper understanding of what it is that we really need out of this entire thing. Like, what I know is that if you ignore your body's intelligent. It tells you where the pain is. It tells you what it needs. It tells you what's going on. It packages everything into yourself. Like, think of yourself as a computer, but just a lot cooler. It knows. And so if we're going to live our lives walking around just trying to force it to accept a reality that's not good for it, and it knows, we're going to suffer for that. And I mean, I'll be the first in line to say that it takes a physical toll when your energy is being drained and when you're in situations that aren't right for you. I mean, step one is admitting to yourself, this isn't right for me. This isn't right. I mean, then you can get into the steps of, okay, what can I do? How do I do this? And accessing your power to walk away from things like that. oh yeah, I know it can seem like you're completely powerless and you can't do anything about these situations. That's just the way they are. Well, everything is a matter of perspective. Everything is to do with you in the end. It's got nothing to do with the people around you. It really hasn't. So you could be existing in the worst situation possible, but if you change your attitude towards it, if you change your perception towards it, well, your reality would shift. So maybe they would still continue doing the same things, but the way that you would receive them, the way that you would experience them would be vastly different. Oh, I have a cat trapped outside. Just I'm feeling a very strong calling for us to begin to trust our intuition and to begin to heal, integrate the parts of our brains that have been divorced and separated from each other, the left-hand side, the right-hand side, the masculine and the feminine. I mean, they need to unite. Your receptivity, your creativity, as well as your masculine, structured, forward energy. We can't just function from one half of the brain, and we definitely can't just function from one part of the body. We've got to come back into our bodies. We've been split and fragmented by so much trauma and suffering that you generally aren't even inside your body right now. Like parts of you are just shredded all over. And it begins with reeling yourself back in and beginning to really experience what it is to be inside this human body. And that can be difficult and that can be painful, but there's nothing more real than owning yourself, than owning your suffering and your joys and your gifts and your world. And from there, obviously beginning to influence what's around you, but it really does start with remembering. And here's your little remembrance for today. The day you are powerful and you are valued and you are loved. Even if you might not feel any of these things, and we might run around looking for them in our outside environment. And by looking for them, I mean, oh, I need a reflection. I need a confirmation from the people in my life, like my friends or families or lovers, that I am loved. Yeah, but you don't. And the more you look for it, it's going to elude you. You're not going to find it within these people. They're going through the exact same thing that you're going through. They also are looking for love. They're also going through their own journey. Everyone essentially on a deep level is alone. And that aloneness, that can really hurt. And we can try to cover it up with all sorts of things. But once you get to the point of being able to be in that ecstatic silence and accept the unfoldings of what it's trying to show you and connect on a deeper and deeper level to who you really are, well, then we can become stronger and stronger and cut off the illusion and cut off the thing that attempts to teach us something we already know. Try to teach you that you're hollow, you don't mean anything, you're indispensable, you're just here. And you just cog in the machine. We need you to do these and these things, but you're just fodder and you're going to get drained through it. That isn't the truth. I mean, really, think about it. Like, I just want to leave you with this today. Think about that. Do you think you're not of value? Do you think that your life was meant to be spent toiling away for somebody else, doing something that you don't love, or suffering or being unhappy? I mean, it's part of life. We're going to suffer. We're going to go through things that really break us open. But the question is, what are we willing to accept? And why is this suffering happening? If we're a part of it, then I'll let you know that you can definitely change it. If it's related to something you are choosing for yourself, you can definitely change it. True nature. Stare to the Eye of Horus, symbol of healing. Healing on every level. Deep, restorative healing that integrates these aspects, ties them in together, the left and the right brain, the masculine and the feminine, the subconscious and the conscious, brings them into union. That's the union we're talking about here, not just meeting your perfect partner or something. How can there be anything that's perfect for you outside of yourself, or that's amazing, unless you've realized that about yourself, or come to the realization that you are valued and that you are loved. So I just want to leave you with that we are love and fear is the illusion.